My name is Stephanie Filippetti, and this video is for my Leadership and Management class at the University of Hartford during the fall of 2016. This class is part of my Master's of Science in Taxation journey, which I began last February and will complete next month in December. So I believe my career development began far before my Master's of Science in Taxation journey did, and I think that it really stems from first my experience in high school. So in high school, I was very involved. I participated in a lot of clubs. I held a lot of leadership roles. I was the president of a few organizations. I was part of the International Baccalaureate program, which is kind of like an AP program, but all of your classes are within the program with the same group of kids. And it really felt good to take charge, and it felt like you were making a difference in high school. But at the same time, it was really hard to get people in high school to follow you and get on what you were doing. And high school isn't a time where everyone, they kind of just want to sign up for clubs in order to put it on their resume for college. They don't really want to make a difference. So I think that was the first time I found that it was really hard to get people to follow you when you were really motivated to do something, but maybe everyone else wasn't. So my first job was at a restaurant, and it was a tourist spot. It was extremely busy. It was fast paced, and I was forced to be vocal from the first time I walked in the door. So you really had to become a leader there, or many had that step up, step out mentality. Many people left because they couldn't take the heat. It really built my confidence. It forced me to step up to the plate. I had lots of face-to-face customer interactions, and I worked my way up through that organization for 5 summers. Some of the summers, that was my only job. Other summers, I would just come back and work on the weekends. And it was a place where I saw both good and bad leadership. So it inspired me to become better. It inspired me to become better in just that organization and as I moved forward in life. And that was one experience overall throughout a period of 5 years that it really built my confidence. I learned the organization, I learned the people, and it made me into a better person, both in general and in a leadership realm. So when I went to college, this was during my period at this restaurant, but also a kind of a separate event in my life. So I went to college at Bentley University in Massachusetts. And it's different than a lot of schools that many of you have probably heard about because it's a business school. It's not a liberal arts school. We don't have majors like science or anything like that. It is a university, so there are some people who major in things like English, but most people go because it's a business school. So because of that, it's really special business curriculum, and I started with business classes my first semester at that school. And it's kind of a school that's dedicated to creating business leaders, they say, and I don't think that they disappointed in that aspect. So my time on campus really overwhelmingly prepared me to graduate. They encouraged me to take internships. They encouraged me to be involved. They encouraged me to take chances. And if I had to sum up my college career in leadership roles, it'd be really 3 major events. So I was part of a sorority, which had multiple opportunities to be a leader. And that kind of shaped me to build my confidence in front of people that I knew really well. I had had many, many roles within the organization, from assistant financial vice president, assistant recruitment vice president. And recruitment was one of those things that a lot of people, I think, see as, oh, it's just a bunch of girls. They're trying to get people to join their sorority. It's a social thing. But at the same time, it's a networking event. You have to really sell your product, which in this case is the sorority. And you need to teach others about what you're doing and what your philanthropy is and things like that. So being a part of my sorority really inspired me to become a better leader. It inspired me to network and everything like that. So I think that was another opportunity that built my confidence as a leader. So the second event that I think kind of shaped my leadership and my college career was participating in the Price Chopper Innovation Competition. So this is something I want to touch on a little bit later in another section of this video, but the gist of it is it was this leadership competition where me and 2 of my peers went through 3 different phases. So the first phase, you submit a proposal. The second phase, you have to submit a research project. And the third phase was presenting a presentation at Price Chopper headquarters. So for those of you who don't know, Price Chopper is a grocery store that they're a pretty big grocery store, and they have this competition for college students in order to make their brand better, kind of find different things. It was something that I didn't want to say yes to at first, but I did say yes to, and it's something that I'm very thankful I did. So that was another defining moment, and that kind of built my confidence. Again, you'll see that confidence was a big thing in me becoming the leader I think I am today. So the last thing that I think Bentley helped me with on my leadership journey was by encouraging me to do internships. So internships were something that I've heard about. They're not something that I necessarily thought I was going to do as many as I did in college. I did 4 internships throughout my college career, including 2 summers at a subsidiary of General Dynamics Corp. So these internships were things that built my confidence in my industry, which is accounting, and it also shaped my view of what a good leader is and what a good leader is not by working under a bunch of different leaders. So this kind of shaped what I wanted to do on my overall career path when I went into the real world after my college career ended and I graduated. So I accepted my job that I have now in October of my senior year. And it's at a public accounting company. I'm going on 3 years of working there now. And I think this is the point that I can say that my leadership has grown immensely. It's given me different opportunities. It's really brought to life what I've learned up until now, in that I've seen so many leaders, and there are a lot of leaders for that are good leaders and who I think are the reason why I do enjoy working there. As for the leadership positions I hold within my organization now, I'm the part of this committee, so there's one representative from each office, and I'm the representative for our office. I've led interns throughout various busy season summer tasks. They work directly under me and a few of my peers to just learn and do what I did in college by doing internships. I've been a part of an implementation team for new software, and we're actually software, so I'm a part of another team right now for that. And I've built my leadership through building client relationships. So I think client relationships are a big part of my industry, and that's something that you have to be confident, you have to trust yourself, you have to work with integrity and be honest and really lead in a different way than you would lead your peers. You have to lead the client, so to speak, throughout what you're doing, because I work in tax and I feel like we have a lot of client interactions where the client really what's going on in the tax world, and it's not their job to. So you have to lead them through the process and kind of show them what's going on. So the next part of it is if I had known then what I know now, what would I have done differently? And I think it's kind of that cliche of, oh, I wouldn't do anything differently because it's made me who I am today. And I think that is partially true. I do think that everything I've done this far has made an impact on the leader I've become. But if I had to choose 3 things to tell you if I had known differently, then I would change. They would be, first, just to stress less about the final grade in your class and to focus more on what you're learning and your journey along the way. And I think this is kind of a societal impact. Most people will agree, I think, that our society is very grade focused when we should really be focusing on what we're learning. And this isn't something I realized in undergrad at all. I was so focused on getting good grades to get a good job. It's something I really learned in graduate school when I already had a full-time job and I wasn't as worried as much as my GPA. And I'll tell you that my grades really haven't suffered. I'm doing just as well as I did in undergrad, and I think my experience has been completely different by focusing on learning as opposed to my final grade. The second thing I would say is to spend time listening to those you meet at internships, at job fairs, or even in the classroom, and make sure you stay in touch with those people. Relationships are the very core of so many areas, and it's so much more who you know than what you know in a lot of ways. But you need to make sure that you maintain the relationships that you create, and you don't just contact someone when you need someone. You need to maintain the relationships along the way. And the last thing that I would tell you would be to take advantage of every opportunity because the same one may never come around again. And a little bit earlier, I told you I would touch on the Price Chopper Innovation Competition later. And this is something that I didn't know when I said yes to the opportunity that it would be so impactful on not only my college career, but my professional life. And I think that there are so many opportunities in college that you have, and you have more time in college to say yes to those opportunities than you'll ever have again. So I would say skip taking a nap, stay up that extra hour to get things done if you have to. And I think someday that you almost said no to would have completely changed your outlook on a lot of things. So if I were to move on to leadership values and beliefs by kind of starting with what I think it means to be a socially responsible leader, is that I think having social responsibility as a leader means being prepared to challenge those around you. Don't just be a yes man and agree. You need to be prepared to challenge and be prepared to take risks. And then I also think that being socially responsible as a leader means doing something because it's the right thing to do and not doing it just because you're going to get personal gain from it. I think that you need to understand when to follow rules and when to use your common sense and when to use professional judgment. And then I also think that you need to have a wider view of an organization than just its mission or vision, and you need to think big. So the last thing I think that being a socially responsible leader means is knowing that your actions and decisions as a leader can affect a wide variety of people, and it's not just the group you see immediately in front of you. So I think it's very important to be socially responsible, and I think it stems from having the right leadership values and beliefs. So my current leadership values and beliefs stem mostly from my dad, who runs his own business. And it's also in accounting, so I think that's kind of why it has had such an impact on me. And I think watching him has kind of inspired me to be the leader I want to be in the future and who I am today. And I think not only has he had an impact, I think that those leaders that I've followed in the past and looked up to have impacted me. But I think more so than that, it's those leaders that I followed in the past who did not possess the qualities that I would want to have in a leader really impacted. And I think that those leadership values and beliefs are shaped just as much by those you want to be like as those you do not want to be like. So for me, my leadership values and beliefs include being someone that others see as a role model. I want to never be too good to do whatever needs to be done to reach the overall goal. I'll go get coffee or I'll staple papers. I don't need to just do the tasks that I think are in my pay grade. I want to do whatever needs to be done to get the job done. But I think it's also important to know when to delegate and when to put your trust in others. You can't do things alone. You need to have the support of others and you need to be able to delegate. And lastly, I think that the common values that many of us have been taught our whole life, such as respect, honesty, integrity, are very important and critical to being a good leader. So as I conclude this video, I want to make my recommendation to you as undergrad students on how to look at career choices, leadership skills, and leadership roles. So when making a career choice, I noticed that many people would tell me to follow my passion. And even though a lot of people told me to follow my passion, I think the best piece of advice I got was to follow my passion, but be realistic. And I'd be lying to you if I told you that accounting was my only passion in this world. So I'm passionate about a lot of things, and accounting was one of those passions that would not only pay the bills, so to speak, but allow me to pursue other passions outside of my career. So when looking at leadership skills and roles and making your career choice, don't be afraid to take risks. And failure is one of those things that we consider a bad thing, and a lot of people say, oh, it's bad to fail, it's bad to fail. And it doesn't feel good when it happens, but it's not necessarily as bad as you think. And it's something that will shape you as a person, and it's how you react to that failure that makes you who you are. You can get down on yourself for it, or you can build yourself back up. And from your first day on the job, another suggestion of mine would be to take every leadership role as it's presented to you. Your age shouldn't matter. You should prove yourself in those roles and treat others with respect, be honest, work hard. And I think that you'll see that a lot of that respect will come back to you. And if I hear one thing more than anything else at work is that millennials do not have a good work ethic. And prove those people wrong. Show them you're not what the media portrays. And it's hard work to prove people wrong that millennials can't do things, or millennials don't have a good work ethic, or they don't know how to talk on the phone, for example. And it's really, really hard work to do that, but it's worth working towards. And I think that you'll find that by proving other people wrong and changing their perception of things, you'll gain their respect in so many ways.